Hello and welcome to the Foilist TV. Today we're finishing the Rio round of 8 with Richard Kruse versus Meinhardt. As always, the bout itself with my commentary is hosted on my website and linked in the description. Let's start with how both fencers got to this round. In the round of 32, Garrick wrecked Max van Haster 15-4 and Kruse wrecked Hamid Santes 15-4. In the round of 16, Garrick was very evenly matched against Erwan Lepeshu and lucked out a 15-14 win, while Kruse took out Andrea Cassara 15-12 and made it look surprisingly easy. Though I felt at the time that Kruse was having a slightly better day, the outcome was by no means certain. So, let's do some analysis. Garrick's main strength was his long attack, which took two forms this bout. First, there was his usual quick and even march into a long and powerful lunge, and second, a surprising attack with a cross step to gain some extra distance and acceleration. He also demonstrated some solid infighting from a parry-riposte situation. However, finishing his attacks at close distance proved much more difficult. I've said before that Garrick's short finishes are generally weaker than those of other Americans, and Kruse put that tendency on display here. Early on, Garrick also suffered from what I assume is a lack of focus, exacerbated by some equipment problems and manifesting as poor distance control on defense. Also in the first period, Garrick had an unhealthy fixation on landing a flick to the front shoulder, often from circle 6. He scored with that action exactly 0 times. Kruse's main weakness in the second period was exactly the same. He also fixated on the shoulder flick, and he too did not score once with it, at least not directly. Also, his stop hits, very successful earlier that day, proved much less so against Garrick's long attacks. Kruse's best action in the first period was a hilariously simple-looking straight finish to his marching attack. I think Garrick's mental lapse was mostly to blame for their success, along with Kruse's super relaxed march being deceptively strong. In the second period, Kruse's best action by far was a sudden, distance-crushing counterattack with a twist. Really, it was both a counterattack and a remise, but for the sake of analysis, I'm considering them one and the same action. When Kruse tried it in the first period, it didn't actually work too well, but it worked pretty much every time in the second. So Kruse got an early lead thanks to his attacks and Garrick's focus issues, and he held on to it for the entire rest of the bout. Garrick started to kind of pull back with his own long attacks, but he couldn't equalize by the time the first period ended. When the second period began, Garrick was looking in better form, but Kruse's counterattacks won the bout pretty much by themselves at that point. One interesting note is both fencers favoring that shoulder flick. I don't know why they both did that, but Kruse actually found a way to use it for tactical gain. By showing a clear finish to the shoulder that Garrick would easily parry, he enticed Garrick to attack, opening him up to that oh-so-deadly counterattack/remise thing. Though more often than not, simply giving up his attack was enough of a setup. Garrick never seemed to figure out that action, and he was consistently caught with his proverbial pants down. So although Garrick scored more in the second period than the first, Kruse could just hammer away with that counterattack until he eventually won 15-13. Thanks for watching. Click the links on the screen to see my analyses of both fencers' previous bouts from the rounds of 32 and 16. Also, don't forget to watch the commentary itself on my website. Feel free to discuss this bout in the comments, or join my Discord server if you want to chat. All that good stuff is in the description. Next up will be the semifinals, starting with Daniele Garazzo versus Timur Safin. Until then, stay sharp.